ladies and gents, welcome to War Thunder with Mags. Now today we're going to take a look at a couple of premium aircraft. First up is the Typhoon 1B, and later on we're going to take a look at the new P-63A-10 for the Russians. But first, Typhoon 1B. Now this is one of my favourite premium aircraft in the game. I love this plane. It's interesting that you don't see quite as many of them around as you used to, and I'm not sure why, because nothing with the plane has changed. 420mm Hispano cannons, good overall manoeuvrability, exceptional dive performance. It's a little slow on the climb, but it's by no means bad. It's just, in comparison to a Spitfire, most things climb badly. Cruise speed is good. It cruises along at about 350 kilometers an hour at 10,000 feet. As you can see here, it's quite comfortable with that, no need to dive, which makes it a good mid-level interceptor. And if you can spend the time to get it up to high levels, it will devastate enemy teams. Now the guns are set wide on the wings, but it doesn't seem to hamper the accuracy at all. I'm tuned in for 400 meters convergence at the moment, and I was no problems at all getting in well and truly closer than that and picking the elevator straight off the back of this HE111. And there they go. Stuck under the wreck and let it fall to the earth with no elevators. It's no longer a threat. But the local ascender wants to go in and take the kills, so fair enough, he can have it. Just manoeuvring off to the right here, heading towards my own troops, putting this P-38G in my area. We have triple incoming Focke-Wulf 190As. And two of them have altitude on me. So target selected, the P-38 has engaged the first Focke-Wulf, so I will take the second one. Now, the engine has overheated, and the Tempest does appear to have an overheating issue. However, it seems to be able to operate for an exceptionally long period of time with the water overheated and in the red, so I'm not too concerned about that. First kill. The bit that is far more concerning with the Tempest is it will not operate with its engine will die rather quickly if the oil overheats. So keeping an eye on that oil temperature at all times is important, especially with heavy usage of WEP during a dogfight. Once she starts going orange, you got to start pulling the WEP off. Right, just dropping into the tail of this A5. And there's my second kill of the match. Unfortunately, I seem to have grabbed the attention of the third Focke-Wulf, who's wiped out the P-38 and is now coming back to have a word with me about his two mates. I'm on 243 rounds of ammunition, fuel is alright, water is overheated, but as I said, not too concerned. Now I'm locked into a spiral at the moment with this 190A. I'm just starting to deploy flaps now to pull around behind, and he realises that I'm making a move on him. I don't mind getting into spirals with the Typhoon. It's not like the things like the Focke-Wulf 190A when they bleed all their energy off. The 190s are very vulnerable to attack. The Typhoon doesn't seem to have this problem. As you can see, I'm only at 1300 feet. I'm using a very small amount of my altitude, just bringing it down to 600 feet. I was able to accelerate from 300 to 400 kilometers an hour and put myself in a position where this A5 cannot run away. Unfortunately, I was a little heavy on the trigger this match, and that is Winchester for me. I'm out of ammo and have to exit the combat zone. But due to the speed that I put on in that very shallow dive, I'm already out over 400 kilometers an hour and still accelerating at around 500 feet. The A5 does attempt to pursue, but it just can't keep up. I'm just pulling away and flying off into the distance. And I think that's the one thing that a lot of pilots completely underestimate or don't take into account when considering the Typhoon as something to fly into combat, or considering when engaging the Typhoon in combat, is its absolute ability to control when it wants to engage in combat and when it wants to exit the combat zone. There's almost nothing that can catch it if it wants to leave battle. And at the same time, if an enemy target is attempting to vacate a combat zone, the Typhoon has the option to select whether or not it wants to allow that to happen. If a Typhoon pilot does not want you to disengage from combat, you won't, because there's very little that can actually outrun it. Attempting to run straight and all the way down, the Typhoon will simply outrun you to the deck, wait till you level out, and pull the trigger, and that will be the end of you. So, bringing the plane back in for landing at the moment, didn't realise it, but a Focke-Wulf 190A had slipped around the back of our swarm and was trying to vulture on the runway. Not exactly a smart move, considering how close these runways are to the actual combat zone. So we've got a BTD that's in here, there are 2 Spitfires and an Ascender. Now one of the Spitfires is crippled from battle damage, the Ascender and the second Spitfire are low on ammo, and the BTD has, well, it's simply come back because it's out of bombs and it wants to blow up some more pillboxes, so it needs a reload. So at least 2 of the fighters there still have ammo, but 2 of them are damaged. And the 190 is trying to swoop in on anything that goes anywhere near the runway for landing, so I'm not going to be able to put down to get a reload, but I am going to try and engage the 190 anyway, just to distract him. Hopefully somebody with ammo will be able to deal with him. Now I'm not using my WEP here because I am aware that I'm running in the amber on the engine oil, and that is a problem. I can easily destroy my engine, but no need. Sometimes you just have to love base AA. And that was the second last plane on the enemy team. The last plane is over there being engaged by everybody who's not in the runway. So from here I just dropped wheels to put down. Not that there was a whole lot of point to it, because the match ended about the time I hit the brakes to stop. But this is one other thing with the Typhoon, the sort of angles you can land it on. Drop the landing gear, put it into a stall, duck dive and turn to the runway, and I'm lined up for wheels down. Now let's check out the results. So, first place, 2 kills. Fighter, Bulletproof, and On-Hand awards. 69,400 Silver Lions, 4,797 Mod RP, and unfortunately I can't see what my aircraft research points were because I have all the British aircraft research, so nothing ever pops up there for me. But if I was to make a guesstimate, that would be around 10,000 for that sort of a match. Not a bad match and a bloody good plane. These do pop up every now and again, but in comparison to most of the other British fighters, you really don't see them very often, and I'm not sure why. Anyway, let's go and have a look at the new P-63A-10. So, the Russian premium P-63A-10, an aircraft that was only available by completing an event in-game. Era 4, battle rank 5.7, armed with multiple 50 caliber machine guns and a massive 30mm cannon, or 37mm cannon rather, straight down the centre of the prop hub. And this plane exists in a realm where the laws of physics do not apply, as you'll see in this match. This was, well, this is what a battle behind the stick of a P-63 looks like, regularly. And this is the sort of shit that people flying Era 4 against Russians are having to put up with. Now interestingly, I don't really have a major issue killing these things when I'm flying as anything else, but it's usually due to the fact that most pilots don't understand exactly how broken this aircraft is and how much you can exploit the brakes if you know what you're doing. They tend to make targets of themselves without realising that there was never a need for them to make a target of themselves in the first place. This is what you can do to people without even trying. I really wasn't putting in a lot of effort this match, if I'm entirely honest. And keep that in mind when you see the result. So I'm cruising along at 17,000 feet. Trying to work out my first target. So I'm looking at that Alcad Focke-Wulf 190. He's moving to engage one below. Premium Spitfire. Now I'm just rotating the aircraft at the moment to control my airspeed in this dive. Now watch my airspeed. There's 800 kilometers an hour and I still haven't got an overspeed warning. I spike 850 when I pull out into a 9G turn. I spike 12 Gs at the apex of the turn, bust over to 11 Gs on the second apex roll, and plane doesn't care. Still come out at 500 kilometers an hour, no damage, and it didn't even vibrate. Poor 190 sitting there going, where the hell did he come from and what the hell? Now it doesn't yaw particularly great, so getting that big 37 is a pain in the ass sometimes to actually get it on target. But it doesn't matter when you can spend all the time in the world doing it. Your biggest risk in a situation like this is more that somebody on your team will actually take the kill before you can put the shell into it, thus wasting all your effort. The 190 Dora here has no chance of outmaneuvering me. It turns around and takes another peg at a Spitfire. He gets the kill. I'm sort of glad he did. I feel dirty when I fly this thing, but sometimes it's just too good otherwise. And there's a 37mm hit. Now he actually clipped another King Cobra on the way through there. And no, it doesn't care. So first target eliminated, looking for a second. You see my climb speed, in comparison to the Tempest that I showed you last round, my climb speed in this aircraft is over 350 kilometers an hour. My level cruising speed, so I'm still accelerating up to it now I've leveled out, it's over 400 kilometers an hour. So next target selected, first shots fired. This guy was a good pilot, knew exactly when to duck and weave almost every single time. Flaps to combat, just bring it around. Again, just rolled the plane at the right time to make the 50 cals and the 37mm shots just go straight over the top of him. Pushes it down into a dive. I pursue. Now he's working in flat angles here. I'm not sure if he was doing that deliberately or not, but it is a smart move because of the low yaw rate on the King Cobra. It is a really good way of throwing that 37mm off aim, but not enough. 37 hits and just shatters him to confetti. And I get attacked by the next 190. Now I want you to watch this closely. We've gone straight into a spiral. I've hit hit WEP, I'm not bothering to turn it off. I've just had to pull nearly a full 360 to put onto the tail. He got a straight run out of a dive. 360, now I go into a climb. I'm selecting a climb angle that will allow me to maintain my speed. I'm just after a few thousand feet, or around 1,000 feet advantage. Turn the plane in order to put a lead on him. Nose down. And despite the fact that he had a much better dive angle than me and has done very little in the way of turning and has not needed to turn himself around 360 degrees like I did, I've already got enough airspeed on to start dragging a D13 back in. 1.5 kilometers, 1.4. As you see, the rate of close is very, very, very good. I'm maintaining 524 and I'm not losing airspeed now in level flight. Out of a dive, a very shallow dive at that. I'm trying to take snipes here with 37mm. It'll only take one hit to kill him, but he was just a little out of range, and the gun is not exactly accurate, although I was putting the shots pretty close. I decided to save the rest of my ammo for when I get in nice and close to make the kill shot, and this would have been my kill, but a Bearcat 1B that had been floating over top of the area, just monitoring what was going on, just came out of a 10,000 foot dive and has so much airspeed on, the D13's not getting away. And good kill to the Bearcat. So, that was the last kill of this match for player kills anyway. All that was left is a full deck of 6 AI left to clean up. Unfortunately, I didn't get most of them. I only got this one here, and I thought I'd throw it on the end of the video just because it is amusing watching 37mm hit stuff. Like that. Alright, let's go and check out the results. And this is why Era 4 Russia is full of P-63A-10s. This was very little effort on my behalf in order to get this result. 3 kills, 1 AI, 2 players, 87,627 Silver Lions, 11,330 mod research points, not that it matters, it's a premium aircraft, but 20,392 aircraft research points, and that was only on a double with a premium account. The biggest reward I've ever hit on this one, and I'm afraid I didn't have the recording software on the time, was a 62,000 aircraft research point on an X4. It was huge, and I think it was only 3 player kills. This is why Era 4 is full of these aircraft. They are a license to print money, and there is a reason why in the space of 3 weeks I've managed to grind through 3 Russian jets. Anyways folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. Click like if you do. Subscribe if you want to see more. Fly smart, fly safe, and I'll catch you in the skies.